Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. In today's video, we are doing a really glowy, bronzy makeup look. Our model in today's video has really beautiful cheekbones. She has gorgeous freckles on her face. So I wanted to create a look for her that would allow her skin to breathe, something that made her skin look really youthful and dewy. And I also wanted to play up those cheekbones with a little bit of contouring and blush. She also has deeper set eyes, so the eyeshadow look is something that is a little bit faster. It's a little bit more simple. It's a great look for somebody that wants a little bit of definition on the eyes, but that maybe doesn't want to spend too much time applying eyeshadow. So you will see a quicker eyeshadow application today. You will also notice that her brows are a little bit thinner, so I took some time to really fill in those brows and make sure they look natural and balance the other features on her face. Our model in today's video is also a mom, so I wanted to create a look for her that she could easily replicate at home. And if she didn't want to go crazy with eyeshadow, that's fine. If she didn't want to do a lot of contouring, she could just focus on highlighting her skin and wearing a little bit of blush. So think about all of these things when you're watching this video and how this could maybe apply to some of the clients that you'll be working with in the future.
Starting our skin prep off with the Avene Soothing Eye Contour Cream. Amanda's skin is really dry and dehydrated. Prior to starting this video, I gave her a quick exfoliation with some Bioderma Micellar water on a cotton pad. So I want to make sure that her skin gets really hydrated. I then started to put on the Embryolisse moisturizer, and I actually put a ton of moisturizer on her face, more than I would normally use. And I almost used it as a mask. So when I'm applying this, you can see me pressing it into the skin because I want to make sure her skin sucks up as much moisture as possible. Taking the MAC Prep and Prime Eye, I'm going to apply this all over her lid with a synthetic brush from Real Techniques. Her eyes are really deep set, so I want to make sure we put a good primer on her lid so that all of the shadow sticks and doesn't move or transfer to her brow bone. Now I'm using the MAC Mineralize Press Powder and a MAC 224 brush as a base shadow. Again, keeping the eyeshadow really light with deeper set eyes. You don't want a ton of product on the eyelid. You've seen me do brows in a couple videos now. I'm starting with the Anastasia Brow Primer. I do want something that's going to have a little bit of hold and act as a primer for the brow powder duo. I want to make sure that her brow hairs stay brushed up. It's going to make them appear fuller. Moving on to getting the skin started, Amanda has a really nice complexion and really great freckles, and I don't want to cover them up. So I'm using the Face Atelier Foundation in number 6 and number 8. I'm dotting a little bit of the number 8 along the hairline where it's a little bit darker and blending the 8 and 6 together to get her natural skin tone. Now I'm going to start adding some shape, and I'm going to thicken up the brows a tiny bit using the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo, that's the Pro Palette, and the number 14 brush. You'll see me repeatedly brush her brows in an upward motion. This gives the effect of having them look a little bit fuller. Then I take the powder and fill in where the brows might be sparse, and I fill them in very gradually. I'm basically working off of the natural shape of her brows. Because her brows are fair and fine, I don't want to go in and draw on or fill in a really thick, heavy brow that doesn't suit her face shape. So I'm basically just enhancing the shape of how her brows are naturally. Moving on to the Brow Wiz pencil in Taupe. You've seen me do this technique now in a couple videos. I love using this technique when I have a client with thinner brows. It just helps to enhance the brows a little bit more and helps to blend the hair with the brow powder. I've also said this in a couple other videos. It's a technique that I use very often, and to me it results in a fuller, thicker, more natural looking brow and a brow that doesn't look drawn on. You'll be able to see from this side angle how much brushing up the brow hairs works to thicken the brow and have it look a little bit more natural. It just gives you a better guideline for thickening up the brows. It's not like you are going in and drawing on a completely new brow that doesn't make sense with the person's face. Moving on to our eyeshadow application, this is the Makeup Forever Artist Face Color. The color is H106. It's a champagne colored highlighter. It is a beautiful product. It gives a really nice glow. I'm applying this with a MAC 224 brush. I want her whole face to be dewy, including her eyelids and under her brows. I'm taking the MAC 239, which is a more dense brush, and I'm just intensifying that highlight under the brow and on the inside and the inner corner of the eye. Now I'm going to bronze up the eyes a little bit. I'm using an eyeshadow color from this Sephora and Moschino collab palette. The shadow's called Bound Brown. I'm using a MAC 239 brush to press this onto her eyelid, and you can see the highlighter that we put down before is showing through, and her eyes are looking really highlighted and dewy, which is awesome. Then I'm going to reach for a MAC 221 brush, and I'm going to just make sure that the shadow has been applied evenly, and I'm using this brush to blend it just above the contour of her eye. Just to make sure everything is blended, I'm taking my MAC 224 with a little bit of highlighter on it just to make sure that contour is really smoothly blended. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, taking the MAC 239 brush, pressing it into the eyelid, and then this color you want to make sure it does come just above the natural contour of your client's eye. If you're replicating this look with a deep set eye, you need to make sure that any shadow or tint or shade of shadow that you're using does show up when your client looks at you head on, and that's why you'll see me very carefully and slowly blend it up just above the natural contour of her eye. I don't need to bring it too far up where it interferes with her brow bone, but just enough so that when she looks at me head on, I can see a little bit of that bronzy color. Now I want to intensify her lash line just a bit more. Again, the same MAC 239 brush, and I'm using Bobby Brown Shadow in Rich Brown. It's a really beautiful warm brown color. This is going to make her eye color pop, and it's going to add to that nice warm brownsy shadow that we have happening on her eyelid already. And again, with deep set eyes, you do want to make sure if you are doing an eyeshadow look, whatever eyeshadow you're using is nice and intensified at the lash line so it shows up when your client looks at you head on. Now I'm taking that MAC 221 brush with a little bit of that highlighter shade and just making sure everything is blended and glowy and dewy looking on her eyelids. Now I'm taking a cotton pad with a little bit of Bioderma Micellar water, and I'm just cleaning up any of the fallout. Now I'm going to move on and finish up the rest of her foundation application. Again, Face Atelier, I'm using number 6 and number 8, a mixture of the two. I'm applying it with a Real Techniques brush. I'm buffing it into the skin, and I'm choosing this foundation because it does have a beautiful glow to it when you apply it, and it's going to let some of the natural characteristics of her skin show through because I'm using a very light application today. So her freckles and some of that natural tan tone that her skin has is going to show through because we are applying just a light coverage of this foundation, and of course making sure that we blend it into the neck. Now I'm going to add a little bit of dimension, and I'm going to intensify some of that bronzy tan tone to her skin. I'm using Face Atelier Foundation in number 10 as a contouring product. I'm taking a little bit of that foundation and I'm just buffing it into her contour. I'm using the same Real Techniques brush that I used for her foundation, and in just a couple seconds you'll also see me use this just on the top of her hairline or on the top of her forehead, and you'll see me use that to just intensify those bronzy characteristics of her skin and to give her face a little bit more definition. Now I want to get to some highlighting. So I'm using this highlighter stick from Berry M. It's the Strobe Cream, and it's the color Baked. It's got a beautiful bronze color to it. I scraped a little bit off on my palette knife, and I'm just buffing it into her cheeks to intensify that dewy look that we want to create on her skin. For a bit of concealer, this is just a MAC limited edition. It's a highlighting contouring cream color palette, and I'm taking a little bit of that peach color corrector with a MAC 224 brush. You could just use the regular MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette if you want for this. Mix the two together and just a tiny bit of concealer underneath the eyes because she does not need a ton of coverage. She has no under eye circles. And of course, we want to set that with the Laura Mercier translucent powder and my favorite Sephora brush, the number 98, and we're only setting it where she needs it, so just down the T-zone, and making sure we set a little bit of that concealer underneath the eyes because I want that glow on her skin to really show through. I took a look at Amanda's eye makeup and I just wanted to intensify it a little bit more. So I'm using this double-ended brush from Sephora. It's the number 206, and Bobbi Brown Shadow in Rich Brown, the same one that I used on her lash line. And I'm just applying a tiny bit just on the lower lash line just to give the eyes a little bit more intensity. And then I took the bigger end of this double-ended brush with the tiniest amount of concealer on it from the back of my hand just to make sure that that under eye shadow was really soft and blended really smoothly. Wait until you guys see this. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Face Color in B302. It's a pinky nude blush. This color is amazing. I'm using the Sephora number 74 brush to apply it. I want to make sure her cheekbones really pop, and I want to add just a touch of color to her cheeks. And you can see that that Berry M highlighter is really pushing through the blush. And this is another reason why I like to sometimes layer a highlighter under a blush. It just helps to intensify the glow a little bit. And even though the blush has a slight bit of shimmer, it pops a little bit more with that highlighter underneath. I'm going to finish off this eye makeup look with a little bit of mascara. This is the Voluminous Carbon Black applied with a disposable mascara wand. You can see I'm just lifting her lid with my thumb and then making sure that that mascara gets right to the base of the lashes. I'm going to just be using 2 coats of mascara. Again, I want to make this look something that she can replicate easily at home, so there's no need for false lashes. Just a couple good coats of volumizing mascara just to help intensify her eyes a little bit more. I want to make her skin look just a little bit more bronzy, and I really want her cheekbones to pop, so I'm using the MAC Mineralize Powder in Dark with a MAC 197 brush, and I'm just sort of intensifying the contour and using it almost as a bronzer as well. I want to make sure her brows stay brushed in that upward motion, so I'm using the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel with a spoolie, just brushing those hairs up so they look nice and full. I want to bump up that highlighter just a little bit more, so I'm going back into the Makeup Forever highlighter. It's the H106 in my 98 brush, and I'm really pumping up the glow on her skin, so just applying it on the high points of her face, just on her cheeks, a little bit on her nose, and just some on the Cupid's bow as well, because I really want her skin to glow. The last thing to finish the look is lipstick, and I'm going with a nude lip, of course. I'm using MAC Cosmetics lipstick in Yash. It's a really great nude color. I'm just applying this with a lip brush. I wanted to make sure that the look was something that she would feel comfortable wearing throughout the day, so a nude lipstick I thought would be the right choice for this. And you'll see me bump up the intensity of this lipstick a little bit. I grabbed some MAC lipstick in Cherish to layer over top, so the nude would be a little bit deeper. And here is our before and after.
If you have any more questions about how I created this look, you can put them in the comments box below, and I will see you here next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
I feel like I have like a ton of lipstick on.
Yeah, you do. Whatever.
I love it.
Okay, your look.
It looks so nice. That doesn't look like my face, does it? So Diana, if I come to work like this, that means I haven't washed my face. I like sleep like this. So I can't have makeup for one whole day.